Revenge films.
One day when we were having dinner together, my husband said,
"Housewives are basically neat, right? How lazy."
Apparently he was fed nonsense from his dumb friend at work and carried on saying things like,
"Everyone can do housework while looking after kids."
My father-in-law was nodding as if he couldn't agree more. My husband, buoyed by his father's approval, began to complain about how hard it was to feed the whole family, or he wished someone could take his place. For your information, we are a family of 9. I lived with my husband, my 5-year-old twins, my 2-year-old daughter, my parents-in-law, my brother-in-law, who is a university student, and my sister-in-law, who's a high school student. My father-in-law is still actively working, and my mother-in-law is a tea ceremony master and teaches at home. I'm usually a full-time housewife, but when my mother-in-law's tea school is off, I ask her to look after my kids and help with my parents' business at my parents' house, 10 minutes by car. After calming down my angry mother-in-law and sister-in-law upon hearing my husband's and father-in-law's words, I decided to listen to my husband's reason for his view on housewives.
Cooking has become easy nowadays because the internet teaches you everything.
You can search for recipes on the internet, but you need to consider nutritional balance and calorie content when you choose them.
That's easy. You're taking naps in a cool room with the AC on, right? While I'm paying the bills.
I don't have time for that. I'm working hard to get all the housework done every single day. She's right. And didn't you know that she rarely uses the AC during the day? She keeps its use to the bare minimum and adjusts the temperature for her children when she turns it on. You have no idea how horrendous it is to use fire in the kitchen during midsummer. You're not in a position to complain to your sister who cooks for us.
Ha! Your job doesn't have any responsibility. Stop being so bossy.
Yeah, he's so right. We're doing more tiring jobs every single day. The stress level is incomparable to yours. Well, I may be a better homemaker because you're boorish.
His words left everyone speechless except me, and I politely suggested, "Why not switch roles then? My day starts at 5 a.m., I make breakfast for everyone and lunch boxes for my husband, twins, father-in-law, and sister-in-law. After that, I do all the laundry, clean the rooms, and take my twins to kindergarten. Then I eat lunch with my mother-in-law and my youngest kid. I grocery shop in the afternoon, pick up the twins, and make dinner." My husband seemed to be freaked out a little, but soon said,
"Easy peasy, but I can't switch roles because I have to go to work."
"But you have a 10-day holiday coming up next month." My husband couldn't say anything back after I mentioned his holiday. In his company, there's a non-electric holiday where everyone gets about 10 days off work so that the company can save electric power use. This year, he has half a month's holiday combining non-electric holidays, weekends, and national holidays.
Wow, that holiday, I was thinking I could relax and, yeah.
He started to mumble, but before he made another excuse, my mother-in-law said, "You said it's easy peasy. You should be able to relax while doing the housework. And you should help him when you're off work." She pointed out my father-in-law as well. My brother-in-law was on our side and said,
Do it properly.
My husband and father-in-law, who couldn't back down because they were the ones who started it, just twisted their face and stayed silent. When my husband's holiday started, we let them do all the housework. The first day, I woke up at 6 a.m. and went into the kitchen. My husband was making breakfast. He isn't a bad chef, and he seemed to know that.
"Looks good, right?"
He said, probably. He told me that he's making lunch for everyone to save money. When I asked if he was making lunch for his brother as well, he answered,
"He doesn't say this to you, but he's probably bored with convenience store food. Besides, it's bad for his health. I think it was your responsibility as a housewife to offer to make him lunch. You're so cold-hearted."
As he said that, my brother-in-law came into the room and said,
I'm not eating convenience store food because my girlfriend usually makes lunch for me. There's a cafeteria on campus as well.
I followed and said, "I told you about this, though. And your mother, too, doesn't need lunch today as she needs to go somewhere at noon. She told you last night." My husband was looking down at the lunch boxes and didn't move at all. I ignored him and I added, "Grilled salmon and fried egg for breakfast and grilled salmon and omelet in the lunchbox." I hate to say this when you cook for us, but you certainly know that I put a lot of effort into using different ingredients for breakfast and lunch, right? I mean, I'm okay with what you cook, but not sure what others would say, especially your father, who is concerned about blood pressure. Taking too much salt is a bit... I mumbled in mimicry of my husband. By the way, his father had no problem with his blood pressure. I continued to check and spotted that one of the lunch boxes had a different meal. I decided to ask him about it.
Well, our 2-year-old child is allergic to eggs, right?
I was stunned. Our twins were suspected to have an egg allergy when they were younger, but that wasn't the case in the end. Don't you remember? How can you not know about your own children? He didn't know what to say. Instead of an omelet, there were sausages and peeled kiwi fruit. Since they were packed next to each other, I said, "Kiwi-flavored sausage? Ew." He was desperately trying to find foil cups. Shortly after, he took the twins to kindergarten, returned, tidied up the rooms, and tried to do the laundry. But the laundry for 9 people seemed to be a bit too much for him. It took him more than 3 hours to finish them up. For dinner, he cooked deep-fried chicken, potato salad, and soup. However, the deep-fried chicken was cold and not fully cooked, and some potatoes in the salad were still hard. So I microwaved the chicken to cook them thoroughly, mashed the potatoes properly, and put all the hard ones on my husband's plate. No one commented on dinner. We just chatted about random things. Honestly, my husband looked uncomfortable. The following day, the breakfast was again grilled salmon. We had croquettes for dinner, which he bought from the supermarket. He said he didn't have time to cook. On the 4th day, since he started doing all the housework, he apologized to me, saying he couldn't take any more complaints from his sister and mother. His sister requested less oily food as she was trying to lose weight. His mother asked him to do the laundry correctly, like stretching out wrinkles in clothes before hanging them up or ironing handkerchiefs properly. At first, he got angry and said,
Stop complaining when I'm doing them for you!
But then his sister replied, "You said that housework is easy peasy, but you're not managing it at all. Your wife, on the other hand, was completing it perfectly every day." He couldn't talk back afterwards.
I'm really sorry for what I've said to you. I promise I won't say such a thing again. I look forward to seeing you back as a full-time housewife tomorrow.
He said it as if his challenge was over, so I stopped him and said, "Hey, you know you still have 3 more weeks to go, right? You can't just say, 'I quit' and run away. I look forward to your great work tomorrow and onwards." He looked as pale as a ghost. Although he apologized to me a few times, I made him continue his challenge till the end of his holiday. Of course, I let his father do the same since he looked down on housewives with my husband. On the last day, my husband and his father sincerely apologized to me again and told me how grateful they were for having me as a full-time housewife. My mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and brother-in-law also thanked me with them. I knew those 3 appreciated me as they thanked me daily, and every time they thanked me, I felt happy and glad that I'd done my best. While my husband and his father looked down on housewives, his mother held the view that it's common sense to help do the housework, same as my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. My husband and his father weren't kind enough to see my effort before, but now they say that they understand what I'm doing every day isn't an easy job. I asked my husband to tell his stupid work friend about his housework experience, but we soon found out that his girlfriend already dumped him because of his view on housewives. As my husband now understood how much hard work being a housewife is, he lectured his friend about it by sharing his experience. However, his friend laughed it off and said,
You're under NEET's thumb! That's so pathetic!
Unfortunately for him, his fiancée, who planned to introduce him to her parents soon, was there listening to the conversation. Then she went, "I might become a housewife one day after giving birth, for example, but I do not want to marry someone who calls his wife neat. I am breaking off this engagement." Anyone could see this coming. He should have rethought his view on housewives even a little when my husband taught him. Well, he brought it on himself. After I heard the whole story from my husband, I said to him, "Good thing we didn't end up getting a divorce, right?" He was stunned with his mouth open. But honestly, I would have chosen divorce if everyone was on my husband's side when I put all my energy into housework at my in-laws' house. I'm so glad I had some in-law family members to be on my side.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.